drops or an allegation drops where you have to immediately destroy that person, because that is not the right way to go about life when you don't know everything. I'm always going to approach any situation, especially a dark and disturbing one like this, with a level of nuance, because that's the way you should be approaching anything in the world, especially when it comes to topics as deep as this one. Get punished because she lied about Justin, and she's gonna have to pay a hefty fine, or Justin's gonna be punished because he lied and did some terrible shit to her and possibly two other people. But until we know that for sure, let's wait to see what happens and not just take a hard stance on either side. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. If you know me, you know who I am. If you don't know me, my name is Trey Fab. I'm a React content creator. I love to make content and react to different drama, TikTok, YouTube nonsense, and I also love to react to basketball, modern NBA, and different basketball content creators. So, if you like drama brain rot, I'm the guy for you. If you like basketball content, I'm the guy for you. Today, with that being said, we're going to be reacting to Internet Anarchist, Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni is disturbing. I'm interested to see what exactly is this about. I will say I'm not big as far as like knowing the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni situation as far as like they go. But, you know, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to learn. So let's learn together. Let's full screen this and let's go.
Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are clashing in what could be one of the biggest legal battles in Hollywood history. This has resulted in Blake losing hundreds of thousands of followers and getting compared with Amber Heard on social media. It started with the two doing a movie together, but what seemed like a fun collaboration quickly spiraled into an ugly dispute. And here's the thing, this entire situation is still spiraling, with new information and accusations dropping almost daily. So if there's something I haven't covered here, it's because the story is still unfolding, and it could get much worse. Blake Lively has accused Justin of orchestrating a smear campaign against her, and is suing him for alleged sexual harassment behind the scenes. Justin responded by publishing a 168-page document disproving her claims, while also accusing her of using toxic and manipulative tactics during the production of their film, and filing a $400 million countersuit against Blake and her husband Ryan Reynolds for defamation and allegedly trying to steal his movie. But
Okay. So if I'm trying to understand this in its totality, we have Blake Lively accusing Justin Baldoni of sexual misconduct, him saying that's cap, coming out with a bunch of counter evidence to prove so, and dropping a countersuit against these two, also involving the movie, them trying to take credit for it, I guess, or them trying to take the movie from him, and as well as the dangerous rumors that are being spread about him. Because listen, when it comes to like sexual misconduct, when it comes to rumors alone, we've seen it happen. We've seen lives ruined off of just statements said. Point blank, period. And I think the main reason behind that is mainly because when it comes to acts such as like sex crimes and things of the sort, it's hard to just prove it. It is hard to just prove it at times. That's why a lot of the time, shit is not like SVU. Shit is not like Law and Order FGU, where what? They said they have like a 99% hit rate as far as conviction goes. That's not real life. When it comes to these he said, she said situations, a lot of the time it can be hard to put someone away for the shit, even if they did do it, because it's he said, she said. So you do have a lot of fucking disgusting people walking around in the world. So that's why, man, this is going to be a lot of yap in this video. That's why something like the Me Too movement started. Is to get the names out there, get people to know who they are, and get people to understand that these are disgusting human beings and they should be called out for what they are. A lot of the times, though, there was evidence backing it and different women willing to step up for a single individual, i.e. a Harvey Weinstein. But one thing that has become an issue, especially with social media and the advent of clout chasing, is, I'm not saying this happens most of the time. I'm not even saying this happens a large portion of the time. I'm saying that you will have a few people that will get on these social media apps and will just blatantly make something up, lie, or they'll say something without evidence pointing in the direction of a single individual, doesn't matter, man or woman, just besmirching their name, dragging them through the mud, and causing them to lose either livelihood, lose deals, or, in some cases, lose their life. There was a very disturbing case of a TikToker who ended up taking their own life because of the bullying and harassment they ended up receiving because of the story that was spread on them as far as talking to an underage person and talking to an underage girl. When we found out that not only was that not true, it was completely made up for attention, and at that point it was too late. So, I look at people who make up stories about other people, who lie on other people's names, as disgusting individuals because, like I said, both things can be true. You can have people that are disgusting, that are making things up, but you can also have people that were victimized that may not be able to have concrete evidence against the person that victimized them. And those type of people have hard time seeking justice, have hard time being able to be seen as just the person they are and be accepted by society, because you have people that will make shit up for whatever reason and destroy the credibilities of real victims and hurt the cause in its entirety. When you make up a lie like this, you destroy any sort of credibility for actual victims. And I'm not saying that's okay for people not to believe them. I'm just saying that is the reality we live in, and I think it's disgusting to even lie or spread and propagate shit that didn't happen to you for whatever reason that you may have. So that's my feelings on it, my little yap session about it. This is a 20-minute video, so let's keep going. I'm not sure if she made it up. I'm not sure if he's lying, but again, if she did lie and lie on this guy's name, if she made any of this up in order to push whatever agenda she may have against the dude, that is disgusting behavior. It should be called out, and it does nothing but hurt actual victims.
Things have only gotten more heated since. Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be diving into what's quickly shaping up to be one of the most intense celebrity clashes in recent history. But before we get into the latest developments, let's take a step back and start from the very beginning, with the man who's in the middle of it all, Justin Baldoni. For those who don't know, Justin is an American actor and director, best known for his role in the TV show Jane the Virgin. He's been in the industry for over 20 years at this point, and even co-founded his own production company, Wayfarer Studios, in 2019, which opened the door for him to step into directing. This also gave him the opportunity to adapt the 2016 best-selling novel It Ends With Us into a film. He was a big fan of the novel himself and wanted to cast the best person he could for the lead role of Lily, the novel's protagonist. And that's where Blake Lively entered the picture. She was announced as the person Justin chose for the role of Lily in January of 2023, and the fans couldn't have been happier. Blake had been a part of Hollywood since 1998. She became extremely popular for her role in the TV show Gossip Girl, and this was before she married Ryan Reynolds in 2012, who was known as the sexiest man alive around that time. Blake was also friends with...
He's indeed sexy. He's indeed sexy. Ryan Reynolds. He does something to him, man. I'll tell you that.
many A-list celebrities, including a close friendship with Taylor Swift, boosting her popularity through the roof. Put simply, Blake was a massive star with millions of fans willing to watch everything she appeared in. Casting her as the film's lead was a smart move on Justin's part, or at least that's how he saw it at the time. With everything that's going on now, it's safe to say that he probably regrets that choice. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Rewinding back a little, filming for the movie started in May of 2023, with it eventually coming out in August of 2024, and to everyone's surprise, it was a massive hit, earning over $350 million with a shoestring budget of just $25 million. However, the path to get here was anything but smooth, particularly for Blake, as she became the target of online ridicule on multiple occasions before the film even came out, like when pictures of her set leaked on the internet and fans of the novel did not like her outfit choices for the character of Lily. You see, one of the primary themes of the novel is about domestic violence and the negative effects it can have on a person's life, which is why Blake's bright and colourful outfit choices felt so out of place, with one person on TikTok writing, like, "She's fine and I can get past the cast, but these outfits, they are not it." The criticism...
I don't know. Am I saying it's a bit nitpicky? Is that me? I feel like if the story is more about domestic violence, I feel like I don't know. Like, I mean, she looks kind of messily dressed there. And that picture here. It's just kind of throwing some clothes on, I guess. I don't know. I feel like this is going to be my opinion. okay? Because I may not just not understand the book. So maybe in the book it said a certain thing about her dressing a certain way. I don't know. I just know that in real life, as far as like victims go, as far as people dealing with domestic violence, depression, whatever the case may be, um, I mean, it's not knowing. A lot of times they cover it up. Is that part of it too? Maybe because she's not dressed to the nine, looking nice. I don't know. Because I know when it comes to like that shit, like, you have some people who will be victimized who will dress nice, put on makeup, try to make it seem like nothing's going on at home and everything's okay. And you'll also have people that are depressed, upset, and dress terribly because they just don't care anymore and they're so upset because of everything they're going through. So I feel like this is a bit of a nitpick. Not trying to side with her, but I'm just, one thing about me, if you guys know me, if you don't, I'm a yapper, if you haven't noticed. And if you do, this goes for both of you guys. I just like to give honest critique where it's warranted. And I'm not going to sit here just. She may have done fuck shit, and we're going to get to it. But I'm not just going to completely bash her because of, like, the clothing choice as far as that goes. And plus, he's the director. I feel like if he really had an issue with the clothing, wouldn't he jump in and say, I don't know, bro. I'm just saying. I feel like if we're really going to nitpick someone, when you nitpick the director, that's just my opinion.
Outfits, they are not it. The criticism also extended to several mainstream outlets, with Time magazine in a later article stating, "It Ends With Us is no whimsical romance, it's a pretty dark moving about an undeniably grim topic," which is why the costuming for the film, a mismatched fever dream of workwear, sparkles, and bohemian fantasy, isn't just a bad fit for the story, it's a jarring distraction. But this was only the beginning.
I don't think so. You guys are acting like she's dressed like a Barbie girl, like, this doesn't even fucking match, dog. Like, she's wearing a pink jacket with a pink shirt that's tied and a brown skirt. Like, what do you mean? Like, this is like a whimsical outfit? What are we talking about? Come on, guys. Come on. And again, if you really want to nitpick this and you really want to hate on me for this, like you don't understand, actually in the book, and maybe in the book it had something to do with her clothing, maybe. I don't know. But if we're going to go that route, that's fair. That's fair. But he's the goddamn director. He's the director. Like, I don't know. I feel like this is one of those things where if we don't like somebody, we have to attack everything they're wrong on, where one thing I want to make sure I get across, especially fans of mine, if somebody does something you don't like, doesn't give you green light to like nitpick every single thing. I feel like in society, when we don't like someone, we'll say every single little thing they do is wrong. And there may be people out there where that's the case, okay? But sometimes we can step back and go, I don't think this is the battle to take. If anything, the battle's to take with the goddamn director. If I really have an issue with this. But she's done other fuck shit, so why don't we focus our energy on that? And that's just all I got to say.
Which is why the costuming for the film, a mismatched fever dream of workwear, sparkles, and bohemian fantasy, isn't just a bad fit for the story, it's a jarring distraction. But this was only the beginning, because Blake got into hot water again not long after starting the press tour for the movie. As we've already mentioned, one of the central themes of the novel, and by extension, the movie, is domestic violence, a real and serious issue that affects many people. However, during many of her promotional interviews for the movie, Blake seemed cheery and bubbly, even cracking jokes when discussing the disheartening theme of the movie.
So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you and then we could
That's rough. That's rough. There we go. We're on strike one. That's rough. See, that's something to critique. What are you doing? That doesn't make sense. I joke around a lot. You guys know me. I be joking around a lot. I be cracking jokes all over the place, okay? But there's time and place where you add the jokes when you say something, right? It's maturity. The interview is obviously lighthearted. Like, you're going back and forth, a little bit of banter. Fair enough. But if he's like, listen, if someone is going through a terrible ordeal or knows somebody that's been through a terrible ordeal and really connects with a story like this and they come to talk to you about the theme of this movie, how do you think they should approach you? What do you think is something they should say when they're coming to you? Very sensitive question. And your response to that is, ask for my phone number, ask for where I live, let's location share. It's like, that's not the best time to add in a joke. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but it definitely is. That's not good. That's definitely bad, especially when you are a famous actor with a PR team and you know how things look and you should understand that. Like, that's not good.
The day before the movie came out, she also uploaded a video of her promoting the movie alongside her female co-stars on Instagram. But instead of taking things a bit more seriously, she spent the video discussing zodiac signs and talking about what kind of jobs they would have if they had to pick new ones.
And we are all in the movie It Ends With Us. I have some prompts for questions. If we could quit our jobs, what would we like to do?
And laughing.
This is throwing me off. It's more clear. More clear, less clear. Much less clear. That's okay.
And just like the colourful outfits, this jury behaviour didn't go over well with the fans of the original work. They saw this as extremely tone-deaf and irresponsible, with one very disappointed person commenting, "You don't have the maturity required to respectfully represent the audience you are depicting in this film. I'm deeply disappointed to witness the flighty tone and bubble-headed manner used in promotion of a story about a deadly serious subject. The backlash had got bad."
Again, is anything they're talking about bad? No, but this is, man, this is just common sense, right? You want to have like that conversation with your co-stars, have it when you're not promoting the movie, though. No one's saying that you and your co-stars cannot sit down and say, hey guys, this is me with my co-stars. This is not promotion for the movie. We just like each other. We're going to talk to each other and we're going to answer some questions because we're going to have some fun. Fair enough. No one's saying you gotta be like a WWE superstar, fucking kayfabe, if you are a bad guy in the ring, you gotta be a bad guy in real life too, to the fans on the low, okay? We're just saying when you're promoting the movie and you are doing a promotion on a very dark, disturbing piece, you should probably take it as that when you're promoting it and making sure you're talking about these themes, not coming across like it's just lighthearted and fun, because it's not.
Bad enough that she had to disable comments on this video to avoid further criticism. However, this didn't stop fans from discussing it elsewhere on the internet, with some even comparing her approach to promoting the film with Justin's.
This is your night, mister.
No, this isn't my night. This is a night for all the women who we made this movie for.
It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
However, this comparison between Blake and Justin...
That's rough. That's rough. That's rough. That's rough. That's rough. That's extremely rough. Yeah, this is... How do we get from this to, like, accusation throwing? I'm interested. But, as far as, like, so far, yeah. One thing, again, the clothing thing, I will not side with you guys on that. If you have any issue, it should be taken towards the director of the movie. And as far as, like, the clothing, at least the pictures I saw... Okay, I haven't seen the movie, so if you want to show me other clips where she's, like, dressed like a Barbie doll, and she's got fucking sparkles flying everywhere, go ahead. But as far as what I saw, even a clip of the movie that he showed was just, like, a very bleak green dress. Like, it's just... So, again, if you guys could show me some shit where it's like, actually, look at this, and she's fucking dressed to the nine in fucking hot pink, I'm with you. But as far as what I saw, and even a scene of the movie, I think the clothing is a bit of a stretch to try to attack her on. So that's one. But two, this is definitely something to attack her on. She has a PR team. She's smart enough to understand what this movie's about. She's been in the movie. I mean, she's the star of it. She should understand how deep it is. She should understand the themes of it. And she should understand when you're probably going to advertise it. No one's saying you have to be, like, crying and tearing up every single time, but you should understand that the audience that's going to watch it is probably people who are more, prone or understanding of the theme that is being shown to them and connecting in a way that people probably wouldn't understand if they haven't been through it themselves. So it's immature to be so happy and giddy. And it just shows, like, a lack of just empathy, in my opinion.
also brought up an issue that would later spiral into the colossal clash it is today. It started when during the promotion of the movie, fans began noticing some odd behavior from the two lead actors, like not following each other on social media, and more importantly, despite starring as a couple in the movie, the two were rarely seen together during press interviews and other promotional events. This had fans questioning if there was some kind of feud going on behind the scenes. But before the actors could address these rumors themselves, TMZ came out with an exclusive scoop on the 14th of August 2024, claiming to have all the answers. According to their report, the tension between Justin and Blake was very real and stemmed from two main instances. The first one had to do with the scene in which Justin's character had to lift Blake into the air, and apparently Justin went to the on-set trainer before filming the scene and asked how much Blake weighed. This made her feel fat-shamed, especially since she had just given birth to a youngest son, Olin, just a few months ago in February. The second instance involved a kissing scene between the two leads, and according to TMZ, Justin lingered on this kiss scene longer than he should have, which made Blake feel extremely uncomfortable on set. These were serious allegations from a massive name in Hollywood. If true, they could easily ruin Justin's reputation and endanger any future projects. Justin realized this as well, and immediately hired the same crisis management PR firm Johnny Depp had during his defamation trial against Amber Heard. However, despite the TMZ story doing rounds on the internet, things stayed relatively calm for the next few months. That is, until December 2024, when Justin had to face not one, but two potentially career-ending incidents. On the 21st of December, Blake Lively filed a legal complaint against Justin and many other execs at his production company, Wayfarer Studios, including the CEO, Jamie Heath. This legal complaint contained two key accusations, the first of which was about the many instances of alleged sexual harassment she faced during the filming of It Ends With Us. These included things like Jamie Heath showing a fully uncovered video of his wife giving birth, Justin entering her makeup trailer uninvited multiple times while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding her infant child, Justin and Jamie talking about their quote previous free addiction, and Justin improvising intimate scenes including numerous kisses without the presence of an intimacy coordinator. These allegations painted Justin to be a sexual deviant who doesn't know when he's crossing the line, and the public backlash to these allegations was almost immediate.
Yeah, that's fucked. And here's the thing as far as like allegations go. Hooey, I better tread lightly here. Here's what I have to say. I will never be the type of person that feel that a bunch of people are just lying and making stuff up for attention, whatever the case may be, right? But I will always be the type of person who will feel I am not ready to disparage and disregard any person until I understand, know all sides from all angles and what's being said. There's no perfect victim, you know? You're going to have people that come out. Sometimes they may seem untrustworthy and really they've been through some terrible shit. But I never ever am with the idea of just straight up immediately jumping on board with the person that went through some shit unless you are family. That makes sense. If you are family, whatever the case, friends, it makes sense that you would immediately just believe them. No questions asked. It makes sense to me. If my friend came to me and said some terrible shit happened to them, I'm probably immediately believing them. That's probably what's going to happen. But when it comes to the internet, one thing you guys need to understand, you don't know these people. You're not their friends. You're not their family. You have no idea what's in their heart. So when you hear a terrible ideal that happens, just walk with caution. And you say what I say. This is always what I say. If that is what they went through, that is a terrible, disgusting thing, and I hope justice is found. Let's see what happens as the case progresses. I want to see what comes out. I also know that I said earlier it can be hard at times as far as like evidence coming out in the case maybe with that. But that's why you just don't speak on it. You don't need to give your opinion on everything. There's cases out there. There's cases out there where the guy definitely did something, there wasn't enough evidence, and he got let off. And there are few in between, and I understand that, but we know that they can happen. It's just cases out there where the guy did nothing, but it didn't matter. No one's saying treat women like trash. No one's saying disregard everything they have to say, no matter what they say, because we don't believe all women. All people are saying, well, all people should be saying, at least this is what I'm saying, is when you hear an allegation, if you're not friends, if you're not a family member, if you're not one of these people, your immediate reaction should not be, let's go destroy this person's career, let's go ruin them, let's go make sure they never work a day of life again happy. because that is not the best play to do, especially when you're not even 100% sure the information you're getting is accurate. It's he said, she said for a reason. And no one's even saying that the person that's coming to you with the story is lying. It could just be that the person that's coming to you with the story had a misunderstanding of the situation that they were in. And when we actually get the whole situation, you can understand from their side why they may have felt a certain way. But then you see it as a whole is not as deep and dark as they thought it was. Doesn't make them a terrible, disgusting human being that was just lying to get someone in trouble, but also doesn't make the other person a terrible, disgusting human being that doesn't deserve to live or work again. So that's my thoughts on it, right? This is a very sensitive topic. That's why the jokes in this video are more limited, because this is like it's about domestic assault, domestic abuse, assault, things of that nature. And this can be some serious shit that we're talking about here, dude. But at the end of the day, please, I beg you guys, when it comes to this internet shit, there's no reason to take a side if you don't know. You just simply hold the case that if something terrible happened to them, I'm sorry that they went through that, and hopefully they're able to seek the justice that they deserve. And that's it. No one's saying you gotta be friends with Justin Baldoni. I'm not saying, even after all this, if you don't trust Justin Baldoni, that's fine. If you don't want to be around him, that's fine. But I just don't like, when it comes to the internet, the instant reaction to when something drops or an allegation drops, where you have to immediately destroy that person, because that is not the right way to go about life when you don't know everything, because you just don't, and you don't know these people.
An important thing to note about Justin is that he'd been very vocal about feminism and women's rights up until that point. He also spoke extensively about the core DV-related themes of the movie during his press tour, showcasing his deeper understanding of women's issues.
I think it's very easy to say, especially for us men, is when we maybe talk to somebody who's in the situation, or we read a book, or we hear a news story, the question that's always asked is, why did she stay? And that's the wrong question.
Yeah.
What we need to be asking ourselves is, why do men harm?
And a large portion of his fan base, especially the women, really respected him for it. They admired his willingness to talk about these topics, where many other male actors might choose to stay silent. So these allegations of sexual harassment felt like a gut punch to these loyal fans who suddenly lost the trust they had in him, with a tweet with over 20,000 likes stating, "To see how this man who advocated so much against abuse towards women, and then to find out he sexually harassed Blake on the set of the movie that is heavily focused on domestic violence is not only disappointing, but so cruel and scary. F Justin Baldoni."
Yeah, see, this is not the right reaction. This is the wrong reaction, because you don't know Justin Baldoni. You were told an allegation by somebody. May be true, may not be true, but why are you so keen to destroy this person who has shown you a pattern of behavior that is opposite of what he's being accused of? Why? And that's one thing that actually just upsets me, especially with the internet nowadays. We are so ready to just destroy somebody's life because they may have done something that we find abhorrent, but we're not ready to question whether or not what they did is actually true. And that's sad. That is not how we should be going about any of this. That's not how we should be going about allegations. Okay? My grandma always taught me when I was younger, no matter what somebody tells you, boy, she told me this many times, no matter what somebody tells you, boy, you trust, but you verify. Never be scared to verify. Trust, but verify. No matter who's telling you something, you can trust the information that's given to you, but you verify it. And the best thing she could have said here was that if Justin Baldoni did this, fuck him. I'm not mad at a statement like that. If Justin Baldoni did any of the allegations that was put towards him, fuck him. Or even if she just worded this all the same, just put it like, it would be sad to see someone who advocated so much against abuse towards women if he assaulted or harassed Blake on set. It would be sad to find out if this is true. This would be disgusting and this will be sad. But why do we have to be like, it definitely did, when we don't know that?
Though some still had hope that these allegations were nothing more than a lie. No, you didn't find out he abused her, you heard allegations that are yet to be proven. Maybe, just maybe, Blake Lively is trying to clear her image. Regardless of the truth, these allegations alone were enough to turn Justin's life upside down. In addition to losing his near-perfect reputation, Justin was also dropped by his agency almost immediately.
Also guys, there's gonna be a lot of yapping in this one, because this is a more serious topic, so I'm probably gonna yap a bit.
Maybe, just maybe, Blake Lively is trying to clear her image.
Here's the thing. Don't just assume someone's lying, right? Don't do that. Don't do that. Somebody may lie to make something up, but keep in mind, I view people who make shit like this up as scum. It's disgusting. Because in my opinion, it's more than just hurting the person that you're trying to pin a story on. You're hurting actual victims. That's what's happening. Because every single time an Amber Heard comes out, and now it seems like Blake Lively, every single time a story like this comes out, you have young men who will hear this, and I'm not saying this is right. Of course it's not right, and they shouldn't feel this way, but it happens. They will hear this, they will see this, and they will go, well, must mean that most women fucking lie, so if I hear a story that comes out, I'm immediately gonna think they're lying. You don't have to jump on the wagon of she definitely lied unless it proves to be so. You can just literally say, if this happened, he deserves to be punished. But let's wait to see what happens. Because it's a case. A case was pushed. A case was pressed. So let's see what evidence is shown. Let's see what happens. And we'll go from there. That's it.
Regardless of the truth, these allegations alone were enough to turn Justin's life upside down. In addition to losing his near-perfect reputation, Justin was also dropped by his agency almost immediately, cutting off major opportunities in Hollywood. Earlier in December, he was given the Women's Solidarity Award by the non-profit Vital Voices, which focuses on empowering women around the world. And, as you might imagine, the organization rescinded this award days after the allegations came out. And all of this was caused by the first half of the complaint. The second half, however, betrayed an even darker side to Justin's personality behind the scenes. The second key allegation Blake made against Justin was that since she spoke up about the sexual harassment during production, Justin hired a PR team to destroy her reputation online. This also coincided with an article from New York Times titled, "We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine." Put simply, this article and Blake's legal complaint alleged that the online backlash she received for her mismatched outfits and cheery tone in interviews wasn't because people were genuinely angry at her. Instead, they stemmed from a coordinated attack from Justin and his PR team to discredit her online. Blake also included dozens of text screenshots supporting her claims in the complaint, including texts from one PR executive to the other reading, "The narrative online is so freaking good, and fans are still sticking up for Justin, and there has literally been no pickup of those two articles, which is actually shocking to me. But I see this as a total success, as does Justin. You did such amazing work. Narrative is crazy good, so did you." The majority of socials are pro-Justin, and I don't even agree with half of them, lol. By this point, Justin Baldoni's reputation was in ruins. Had things ended here, Justin would have likely never found work in Hollywood again. However, he wasn't going to go down without a fight. On New Year's Eve, Justin filed a $250 million lawsuit against New York Times for allegedly misrepresenting the truth and twisting facts to support their unfounded claims. By the same day, Blake also went all in and elevated her accusations from a legal complaint to an official lawsuit. Blake's and New York Times lawyers also released a statement a few days later, saying, "We plan to vigorously defend against the lawsuit." In other words, they were willing to fight Justin and his team in court. What they didn't know at this time was that this $250 million lawsuit was just the teaser. Justin and his legal team had a full comeback in mind, which started a little over 2 weeks later on the 16th of January, when Justin filed another $400 million defamation lawsuit, this time directly against Blake and Ryan Reynolds, accusing them of attempting to destroy his reputation and career. 5 days later, on January 21st, his team also released a 10-minute unedited video from the set to disprove her claims of sexual harassment. The video opened with a statement explaining its purpose, reading, "Miss Lively's complaint alleges that during a scene, Mr. Baldoni and Miss Lively were filming for a slow dance montage. Mr. Baldoni was behaving inappropriately." The following videos, captured on May 23rd, 2023, clearly refute Miss Lively's characterization of his behavior. The scene in question was designed to show the two characters falling in love and longing to be close to one another. Both actors are clearly behaving well within the scope of the scene and with mutual respect and professionalism. These are all 3 takes filmed of the sequence, and then went on to show Blake and Justin acting out this scene as mentioned in the script, including footage of Blake laughing and having a good time, showing no signs of discomfort.
Oh my gosh, we don't stop.
And Emily and I have we have these moments where
Staring, you just stare.
we've done it for like 5 minutes. It's like, I think he would find it terrifying. We just literally look at each other and like trying to...
A viewer also pointed out the very ending of this recording session, which, according to them, showed Justin's lack of interest in Blake after the cameras were cut, stating, "Very telling when he said cut, we have plenty, and just walked away. He didn't linger with her or watch her walk away. He showed no interest after the scene, which shows he was acting during the dance scene." And while this video addressed only one tiny portion of the massive lawsuit against Justin, it still showed him that a comeback was possible. On January 22nd, Ryan and Blake filed for a gag order, which would prevent Justin from releasing any more lawsuit-related material to the public. This gag order was later approved on the 4th of February. The judge stated that he would move up the trial date if the case continued to be litigated in the press. Unfortunately for Ryan and Blake, this was too little too late, because on the 1st of February, Justin launched an entire website titled Lawsuit Info to the public. This website featured his amended complaint, as well as a 168 pages long document detailing the entire timeline of events with receipts, starting from the first time he contacted Colleen Hoover, the author of the It Ends With Us book. This timeline of events also included counter-arguments for almost every single allegation Blake made against him. For instance, in her complaint, Blake mentioned the lack of an intimacy coordinator on set, which went against the contract she signed. But on his website, Justin included screenshots of texts between him, Blake, and a producer. In these texts, he informed Blake about hiring the intimacy coordinator, and later told the producer that Blake was the one who didn't want to meet the said intimacy coordinator, and that this might mess up the workflow. The website also included handwritten notes Justin took after meeting this coordinator. In her original complaint, Blake also went against the scoop from TMZ and claimed that the lifting scene didn't even exist. In other words, the fat shaming she experienced had no logical explanation. But on Ryan's website, he included a section of the script which clearly states, Ryle, Justin's character, scoops her up, indicating that the scene was indeed real, which is why Justin asked for her weight, as he wanted to train for it to avoid accidentally injuring himself or her. One section of this timeline also went into detail about the New York Times article, and how, according to research done by Justin's team, Blake and the New York Times worked together to defame Justin. Because after some digging into the article's code, they discovered that part of it was indexed on search engines on December 10th. So the New York Times was allegedly working on the article at least 11 days before Blake filed her complaint. In other words, they were already aware of what the legal complaint was going to be about, and were possibly working closely with Blake's team. On the topic of the New York Times...
Okay. Jesus Christ, so much information thrown our way. Okay. That's so much information thrown our way. Alright. So far, what we're aware of, what we know, is that not only did he come back with receipts, Ryan... What the hell is Ryan's involvement with this besides just being the husband? I gotta say, I'm married to my wife. When she gets in, I get in. So, I guess, but... Other than that, when it comes to everything that was said, he doesn't just have receipts. He has screenshots. He has notes. He has evidence. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. That's why you just wait. It's not hard to wait. Why is it so hard for some people to just wait for evidence to just come out? And it's like, oh, fuck. I guess he isn't a disgusting, disturbing piece of shit. Like, yes, wait. Damn, dude. He's, and when it comes to like $400 million, is that a lot of money? That's a lot of money for anybody. $400 million to Ryan and, Blake, that's a lot of money. Fuck that. That's a lot of money to Jay-Z and Beyonce. $400 million is a shit ton of money. But if you made this shit up, you deserve it. Because you showed clear intent. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. If you really worked with... Because I'm not going to say the New York Times. I will say the Times probably should have vetted the person a lot more. I'll say whoever created the article at the New York Times. One thing I want us to be more cautious about when we talk about sources and getting our sources is to understand that there will be people who create articles that make mistakes. I'm not saying this is a mistake. It seems like the person was working on the article way before the complaint was even made. So obviously that means there was some behind the scenes shit going on. But when it comes to like people fucking up on articles and people lying on articles, one thing we need to understand is it doesn't mean the whole entity in a whole fucked up. We can say the entity fucked up by allowing this person to create this article, and if the person that created this article is still at the Times, we could definitely question that then. But let's not just throw the whole entity in the garbage, okay? Because then you get the people who believe the earth is flat. And then you get the people that believe we never been to the moon. And we get the people that believe we live in a dome. Okay? Alright, mistakes can happen, people can fuck up, and people can even lie. But people are people. Let's make sure that the entity, if they were aware of this, whether to be a big organization like NASA or an organization like the New York Times, that the person that lied or the person that fucked up either got reprimanded, fired, or let go, one way or another. So that's just my opinion. Listen, whenever you listen to me talk about shit, especially serious topics like this, we're going to explore this in a level of nuance. Point blank, period. We are never just going to go to any type of topic and just go bad, 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 or good, 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 good. Whenever you listen to me talk, whenever you listen to me yap, I'm always going to approach any situation, especially a dark and disturbing one like this, with a level of nuance, because that's the way you should be approaching anything in the world, especially when it comes to topics as deep as this one.
His amended complaint also included evidence to show how they manipulated the truth. For example, one of the texts from his PR executive that New York Times showed in their article said, "You really outdid yourself with this piece." However, according to Justin, they failed to include the upside-down smiling emoji at the end of this text, which indicates sarcasm. This might seem like a small detail, but the exclusion of this emoji takes the message's meaning from "things are not going good" regarding to the backlash Blake was receiving to "you are doing great," suggesting that the recipient was the mastermind behind the backlash. But that's not all, because in addition to rebuking claims made against him, Justin's website also included dozens of brand new allegations against Blake and her husband Ryan, the most significant of which includes everything Blake did to take control of the movie. For instance, according to Justin, Blake rewrote the dialogue for a scene to make it more, quote, flirty and yummy. But when Justin didn't agree to change the script according to her wishes, she went on the offensive. She allegedly invited Justin to her home, where Ryan and another mega celebrity friend, who Lively describes as her dragons, in reference to Game of Thrones, pressured him to go with Blake's edit. Now, while Justin doesn't name this mega celebrity in this section, most people believe that he's talking about Taylor Swift, who, as we established earlier, was quite close to Blake. That said, this was only the tip of the iceberg. Justin also accused Blake and Ryan of taking control of the wardrobe and disregarding the outfits chosen by the styling team, firing Justin's composer on her own, forcing...
Okay, there we go. There we go. If you watched this long, oh man, I'm gonna get attacked for that one, huh? I'm gonna get attacked for that one, huh? Listen, there we go. This is why we approach stuff with nuance. Okay? She took control. If this is true, fuck. I can admit when I'm wrong. And if she took control and shit like that, I'm probably going to get destroyed by some people as far as like the wardrobe thing goes. I stand by my shit though, as far as it being not as serious. In my opinion, I don't know. Sexy? Am I just getting bad, like, imagery, guys? Sexy? Sexy? This is sexy? Okay, I guess. Again, I'm not siding with her, and I'm also not trying to post-hoc justify my claim. She took control of the wardrobe. She decided to switch it up. She decided to change it against the will of the director. He should have put his foot down as the director. My guy, this is your movie. You were able to put your foot down. As far as her changing the... What did they just talk about? The dialogue? That's not the script, right? The dialogue in the script. You were able to put your foot down with that, but you didn't want to put your foot down as far as the wardrobe goes? I don't know. Again, not trying to post-hoc justify my shit. I'm just simply putting it out there. He's the director. This is his movie. He's able to have a say-so. If he is going to let a star tell him what to do but on one instance, but not on the other instance, But again, either way, I'm not destroying him for the wardrobe, just like I'm not going to destroy her for the wardrobe, because at what I saw, we saw a couple clips, we saw a couple scenes, and we saw a couple pictures. I just don't see, like, super sexy, whatever the case may be. And I also feel like when we're talking about topics like this, I don't think there's one thing that I think needs to be understood, clearly understood, is there's no such thing as a perfect victim. They don't exist. Not all victims are the same on how they react. Not all victims are the same on how they dress, how they do, what they say. It's just not the case. You could have a person that dresses up amazingly, looks good, puts on makeup, everything looks perfect with their life, they're smiling and they're laughing, but they're dying on the inside. And you could have somebody that is destroyed, distraught, never wants to leave their home, and dresses terribly. You can have both of those things. But I don't think the clothing, that shit, I don't like the idea of like, oh, she has to dress a certain way because there's no such thing as a perfect victim. I will say that if this is what she said to him to push him to change the wardrobe, that's fucked, because this is supposed to be a deep movie about disturbing details. Why do you care about how sexy she looks? Who cares? This is a deep, disturbing theme. Domestic violence. Who cares a fuck about sexy? Right? No one cares about sexy. We shouldn't be talking about sexy when we're talking about a movie about domestic violence. That's not okay. So that's the way I feel. I continue to feel that. It's not necessarily the clothing. It's more or less how she went about wanting to change the clothing. That's the biggest thing here.
By the styling team, firing Justin's composer on her own, forcing her way into the editing room with a personal editor to make a cut of her own, essentially becoming the second editor, screening her cuts without Justin or Wayfarer's approval at events, and worst of all, forcing Justin and his family to celebrate in the basement during the film's premiere. Now, I should mention at this point that these are nothing more than allegations. While they do include some conclusive-looking evidence, none of this has been proven in a court of law. However, the court of public opinion doesn't have the patience to wait for the court's rulings, which is why, after this website came out, the general sentiment quickly shifted towards supporting Justin and hating on Blake. This wave of backlash also reached Ryan, who, as we mentioned earlier, is losing followers on social media, and is getting called out for seemingly faking fan interactions to boost his perceived popularity. The allegation about forcing his family to the basement was especially infuriating for some fans, with a tweet with over 10,000 likes reading, "The fact that Justin Baldoni was made to celebrate the success of his own film in the basement with his entire family, away from the A-lister spotlight, while Ryan and Blake partied upstairs, is absolutely atrocious. Justice for Justin, F. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds." That said,
if this is true, because notice what I said when I was talking about this whole dress code situation. I said, if it's true, if this happened, this is fucked and shows her immaturity. I'm more likely to lean on it happened because of the way she seems so far, but I'm not going to say by a matter of fact this is one. Like, I don't... Come on, guys. We need to get to a point, especially with the internet. We need to get to a point where we are able to just display a level of nuance in situations. I get it, it's boring. You probably listened to me yapping this whole video, and you're probably waiting for me to say that she is a disgusting, disturbing human that made up lies about Justin, and you're excited for me to say Blake Lively is terrible. But I'm not going to say that. With the information I have and what I know so far and what I've seen, concrete evidence for it, as far as her promotions towards the movie, the questions she had with her co-stars, and that of the sort, one thing I can say for sure is Blake seems like someone who's extremely immature and lacks empathy, especially when it comes to topics of domestic violence, and probably shouldn't have been part of this movie. Did she lie about Justin Baldoni and make everything up? There's a lot of evidence pointing to the fact that she may have been untruthful and may have lied. But has she definitely lied? I don't know. Has she definitely made it up? I don't know. But there's a lot of evidence pointing to the scene that she brought up. She definitely lied about that scene because it was put out there and it was able for me to see. Point blank, period. Okay? That was definitely not true. Also, another scene as far as like her getting lifted up, that wasn't even in the movie, but it was in the book. So, that's also not true. So, I can point at things she lied about, and I can lean towards the side of lie, not lie. And if you guys want to ask me, well, where are you leaning? I'm probably leaning more towards Blake Lively lying than not, but I'm not going to give you a definite answer because I don't know 100% and I never will. But I'm going to lean towards Blake lying and not lying. And I'm not saying that to be a coward. We can never know anything in life 100%. You can't know that I'm 100% talking to you right now and I'm not a hologram or a delusion. Okay? A figment of your imagination. Could be. You never know. You can't know 100%. So I'm not saying that to be cowardly. I'm just saying that to say this. I'm waiting to see what the case provides and to see what happens from there. I think everything that's put forth so far makes Blake look really bad and I have to put money or think on anything as far as like whose side am I taking, I'll take the side of the truth. Fuck you. But no, I'm probably leaning towards Justin and leaning towards Blake lying about the situation so far. That's where I'm at as far as everything that's been provided for me.
Assume for a second that Justin is telling the truth, and this whole thing was orchestrated by Blake and Ryan. It brings up an important question. Why? Why would she risk ruining someone else's career? What could she possibly gain? Well, according to internet sleuths, she allegedly did all of this to essentially steal the movie from Justin. The author of the original book is on Blake's side throughout all of this, and expressed the desire to work with her for a potential sequel.
Exclusive.
That we could have a sequence.
What? Sorry, what?
You can have a what?
A sequence, like it starts with this.
I mean, if Colleen has her rights, I'll go anywhere. I'll follow this woman anywhere.
Y'all heard her.
And since working on writing, costume, and editing allowed her to get a producer credit on It Ends With Us, it will make it easier for Blake to secure funding and support for these hypothetical sequels. Then again, this is all pure speculation. Maybe we'll learn the truth after the case reaches court on March 9th, 2026. That's still a long way off, but the two parties are still going at each other in the meantime. On the 13th of February, for example, Blake's team subpoenaed records of Justin Baldoni and others involved in the case from phone and internet companies. This forced Justin's team to move quickly and try to block this request, stating that Blake and Ryan are, quote, not the FBI. And while all of this was going on, Blake also filed an amended complaint on February 18th. According to this updated lawsuit, she isn't the only person Justin harassed on set, and that 2 more women will come forward during trial. This made people curious about who these 2 women could be, as their names were omitted from the amended complaint. After some digging from the public, reports began circulating the internet that one of these women was Jenny Slate, Justin and Blake's co-star in the movie. This is because Jenny openly voiced her support for Blake back in December 2024, stating, "As Blake Lively's castmate and friend, I voice my support as she takes action against those reported to have planned and carried out an attack on her reputation. Blake is a leader, loyal friend, and trusted source of emotional support for me, and so many who know and love her. What has been revealed about the attack on Blake is terribly dark, disturbing, and wholly threatening. I commend my friend, I admire her bravery, and I stand by her side." More importantly, it came out that Jenny already filed a complaint with Sony regarding an interaction with Jamie Heath, the producer and CEO of Wayfarer Studios. The issue arose when she voiced her dissatisfaction with the apartment she received for the shoot. Jamie offered to pay the $15,000 security deposit to help her move. However, according to her complaint, his comments on the sanctity of motherhood and her role as a mother made her uncomfortable. It's also important to note that at this point, Jenny's involvement in the case is nothing more than speculation. Jenny might not be one of the women Blake mentioned in her amended complaint, especially since these 2 women would supposedly testify against Justin, when Jenny's past complaint had nothing to do with him. But that didn't stop some people from treating it as a fact, and in turn, ripping into Jenny for what they see as entitlement, with one person writing, "Oh, how dare that guy express how important motherhood is. Oh, how dare he accommodate you. How dare he offer to cover a massive expense. Jenny and..."
This is what I'm talking about. Why can't we just wait? Okay? I gave you guys my non-cowardly, honest opinion, and I'm ready to shift it as the case goes on. Right now, I'm leaning towards the fact that Blake lied. That's where I'm leaning. That's all the evidence that I've seen so far. Everything that I've seen with this case, from knowing nothing to knowing everything I know now. But one thing I will say is that people have agendas. Everyone has agendas. Everyone has biases. Point blank, period. No one's saying it has to be nefarious, but people have a bias. I have a bias to my wife. So I'm probably going to tell you glowingly things about her all the time. I may tell you something she does in a glowingly way, and then when you actually go see her do it, it's probably not that glowingly. But everything she does is glowingly, so suck a dick. But when it comes to this situation, I'm leaning towards Blake lying. But I'm ready to switch my opinion as I learn more information. I'm not saying 100% she did. I'm saying it just right now looks like she did. And if she did, she should be punished for it.
And Blake are both delusional. Since filing her amended complaint, Blake and Ryan have secured a protective order that prevents certain private and sensitive information from becoming public. Some are classifying this as a win for the couple. However, many are also seeing this as an attempt from Blake and Ryan to hide names of their celebrity friends, like Taylor Swift, with a popular tweet even referring to it as the, quote, Taylor Swift clause. That said, this doesn't matter much in the long run, since this protection is only active during the discovery period. It will likely go away once the case goes to trial, and that's where things stand at the time of writing. This is still a rapidly moving case with new details coming out almost daily. Not only that, but it can get even crazier if someone like Taylor Swift gets dragged into court as well. No matter how this plays out, one thing is certain. Whoever gets caught lying in the end risks ruining their career forever. If you want to stay updated on the situation, make sure you subscribe right now.
That's the best thing about this case. That's the best thing about this case. There's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a shit ton of people. So if someone is lying, we're gonna know who's lying. We're gonna know in March, maybe end of March, maybe April, May, June, July. It may take some time, but let's see what happens, okay? If there's one thing you can take away from this video, take away this. You're allowed to lean in the way of Justin being innocent in all this. You can even lean in the way of Blake getting the bad end of the stick in all this. But one thing you should not do is say that you know 100% X. You don't know 100% shit. You don't know. You don't. But what you can say, it doesn't matter if you're on Justin's side. It doesn't matter if you're on Blake's side. You can say, right now, I feel X if X happened to X. And if this happened, then X deserves to be punished. Point blank. That's it. That's all. Because either Blake's going to get punished because she lied about Justin and she's going to have to pay a hefty fine, or Justin's going to be punished because he lied and did some terrible shit to her and possibly two other people. But until we know that for sure, let's wait to see what happens and not just take a hard stance on either side. So with that being said, guys, I hope you like the content. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. I hope I was able to give a more nuanced, more mature reaction than Blake did to her own damn movie. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if there's anything you want me to react to, and I will. And until next time, friends, I love you. See ya. Peace out.